Here at the Giver Marketing Network. Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network Masterclass. Also joining in the Kingdom Warriors outfit and group that are watching in and listening in. So welcome to the Kingdom Warriors Network as well. So we're glad to be here together, and we're going to be talking about, Stacy, are you excited? We're going to be talking about promotion today.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
what many of us think of when we hear the word marketing. But as we know, there's a lot more to marketing than just promotion. That's one piece of it. That's one quarter of it if you're thinking of the blueprint that we've been going through. But we're going to jump into that section of our blueprint, which is the third piece. So promotion is our focus for today. So I'm going to jump in with a little bit of screen share and go right into it so that we can cover what we discussed the last two sessions together. But this is session number 3 of 4. Okay, let me make sure I'm bringing this up correctly. Hold on one second. I did not bring up my slide deck just yet, so I'm going to do that while we get ready here. All right, it's loading up. All right, so if we go through the blueprint together, I'm Timothy Morgan, CEO, founder of the Giver Marketing Network, and we're glad to be able to walk you through these 4 pieces: the branding, visibility, promotion, and nurturing. So as we do this together, just know that we're going to be jumping ahead to promotion. So as we look at the pieces, just think of branding as something you want to do first, then visibility, then promotion, then nurturing. Okay. And so next week, we'll be talking about nurturing. So quickly, as we go through this together, just know that we've already covered so much of this. I'm going to go through most of this just on the screen so that if you need to pause it or rewind it, then you have it as kind of a refresher. But we're going to be jumping ahead into not only reviewing branding just for a second here, which includes your origin story, but then there's visibility, which is how people find you, and then promotion, which is where we're at today. So buckle up, get ready to ask those questions in the comments, in the chat box, wherever you're watching this, and let's jump into it now. All right, so we know that promotion matters, right? And we know that when it comes to marketing, we want to have a great ROI on our promotion. We want to make sure that for every dollar we're spending, we get at least $2, $3, $5, or $10 back, right? So it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish and how many experiments you can make. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Some ads and promotions take more money up front, and some take more time up front. So you want to think of that in terms of, okay, how much time do I have in relation to how much money do I have to put aside as a budget for marketing? And you want to budget both your time and your money. If you're a fast growing company, you got millions of dollars in the bank, then you're going to put a certain percentage of that revenue that you've been generating toward marketing. So you can put fuel back into the tank and just keep going. We recommend at least a 10% of revenue to start with. No matter what size of small business you are, you can start with a 10% of top line revenue. Okay. So that's something to consider as far as budgeting your finances. Now, as far as budgeting your time, that depends on how much you have available. Okay. We are a no spam organization. So let's be really clear here. When we're talking about promoting, we're not talking about bothering people. Okay. We're not talking about uninvited conversations and and advertisements pitching something. Okay. Even in our conversations, we don't pitch unless there's been permission given. So this is a very tactful, very emotionally and relationally intelligent approach to promotion that you're about to see. So you might hear other people talk about promotion. You just got to get in front of them 77 times, and by the time they see you, almost 100 times, then they're going to buy something from you. Well, we don't feel like that's always that's the best approach in most cases. So ultimately, we want to be very cautious of uninvited promotion with our audience. Okay. ICE guideline is a good one to start with. It's a foundation for your promotion. This is the way we get into that promotional mindset. And what we want to recommend is three things. You want to inform your audience. Of course, you've already dialed in your branding, your visibility. You already have an idea of who your perfect customer is. All that's already dialed in from previous sessions we've had together. But when you inform your target audience, make it very clear of what you're offering, your unique selling proposition. Okay. Make it clear what your benefit, how you're benefiting your audience. Then give them a very easy call to action, easy next step, which we'll talk about in just a second. And then you want to engage them with not a monologue, but a dialogue. You want to have two people connecting back and forth. Now, that could be through some automation, but at the end of the day, people want to talk to people. And we are doing business with people in most cases. All right. We're still up in the people business, ladies and gentlemen. So let's be really careful not to get too distracted by shiny objects and technology that can help, but it's not the answer to everything. Okay. So we want to make sure and combine the technology of the day with the communication principles, the first principles of communication as we go into promotion. All right. So again, that informing is a monologue. It creates awareness. Things like mass emails, billboards, print, radio, television. These are ways to go, one to many. You're just letting a lot of people know what your what you're in the world to do, what your mission is, what your noble story is, as Tim Solmonson would say. What you want to let the world know that you're there to help, and you're there to be the guide and make them the hero, and help them accomplish their mission. And if it aligns with the mission you have, then great. This is a good conversation to have. So it opens the door. You can think of it as just all it's doing is opening the door. When it comes to informing your audience, you're educating them on just a basic level of how you can help. Okay. So as we begin talking about promotion, it's important to one thing we got to be careful of is we shouldn't assume our audience knows what we do. Just because we are entrenched in our businesses and in our brands, the worst thing you can do with your audience is assume that they know what you do, how you do it, and how it benefits them. But you have to be very, very informative when it comes to your initial impressions. Okay. Especially as you're putting ads together, make it like super clear. You have 3 seconds for them to understand what you're doing or how it's going to benefit them in some way, or at least capture their attention. Okay. So once you capture the attention and they've kind of understood what you do, then give them an easy next step. That's why a lot of these social media ads, a lot of the digital ads, the online ads are so clear, crisp, and easy next step. They're almost too easy. You accidentally click on something and you're having a conversation, like something's happening and you feel like you're part of an experience. You think of like click funnels, for example. It's just a little explanation of how we benefit our audience, a next step, then it goes to a next step, then a next step, and you're on a journey. Okay. So that's why ClickFunnels has become a multi $100 million company. Okay. Because of the easy call to action. And you can build your own funnels on web pages and social media platforms and through jot forms and all sorts of different things. So you can definitely create your own version of a call to action wherever you're at. Gosh, I think of I think of even conversations on the phone. What's the next step, right, Stacy? I mean, what's going to happen after a quick informative or discovery call? Like, what do we do? And that's a type of call to action. So it's not just online; it's in person, on the phone, on Zoom, on social media platforms. All of these different ways we're communicating. There needs to be an easy call to action. For me personally, many times my first call to action is setting up that phone appointment. And then after that, there's a next call to action, which is a longer Zoom chat that allows for a deeper conversation if there's a good alignment. And that's just because I'm in the business of helping causes and companies doing good in the world. And so is a lot of our network. So we highly recommend a short, sweet first step and then a next step. So those calls to action along the way, some would call them conversions, some would call them next steps. But whatever you call them, there needs to be a buyer's journey that begins here with the end in mind. And I think of Joel Snyder. He always says, "Don't don't leave any cold dead ends or loose dead ends. Like let's make sure there's a next step. There's something always next, so that people don't get frustrated." I mean, how many times you've been driving along and you realize the route that you were going to take has a dead end. Now you got to turn around, go all the way around, and go to where you're trying to go. And our nurturing specialist Joel always says, "Look, don't make it hard for people to get to where they want to go. Let's make it easy. Next step. Let's engage them with a dialogue. Make sure they don't feel alone on the journey or like just a number. Let's make sure there's a nice warm digital hug that's happening, or even shoot, if you're in the same room together, give them a real hug, a physical hug, right? So let them know they're not alone. And I think we've all been there when we've showed up to a destination, or that we thought we were going to be greeted with some good dialogue and conversation, and there's like nobody around. I was at a I was on a trip with my wife recently, and there were some parts of the retreat where there was a lot of help and a lot of people that were there to help. But then there's other places where it's like, gosh, I don't know which direction to turn here. I don't know where to go. I don't know where the restrooms are. I don't know where the restaurants are. I don't know the signage was okay. But at the end of the day, I needed to be engaged with a dialogue. And finally, I found that they were texting. And so I could ask any question through text. So there was a dialogue happening on text. So there's all different ways that we can do this. But the key is to ask good questions and to be responsive, whether that's through social media ads or uh, certain kinds of email campaigns, or various platforms that you're engaged. Even if you're like in a group dynamic on Zoom, you being able to engage people in the chat box, even like what we're doing right now. If you put comments in social media, we will come back, circle back, and engage with you at the best of our ability, right? So that's an important piece. So
I have something for that there, Tim.
sure, inform, call to action, and engage. What do you got, Stacy?
So, what you just said about being at a retreat and not knowing how to navigate through that, but yet you found at a later date that there was texting. What did the what did the organization of the retreat do prior to the date to let you know that that's how to communicate? So this is all part of promotion. So what dialogue was the pre-dialogue to the
Mhm.
actual retreat So don't forget those things. If you're hosting events, what is the pre-dialogue? We recently had a summit. And our summit that we just did a few weeks ago went way smoother this year because we made sure all of the speakers knew how to reach us throughout the day, knew that we would be in a certain channel, in a certain place. They needed to be there right around their time so that if something happened and we could bring them on earlier or whatever. So that was really important piece of the setup of that. So that was promotion part. It was a promotion part
Yeah.
for the
There's
speakers,
an
making
internal
sure they know.
promotion, Stacy, and there's an external promotion.
Absolutely.
So if you have an organization with more than a handful of people, you're going to have an internal. And remember, we define marketing as pre-decision communication or pre-transaction or pre-commitment communication, right? So if you're having an internal dialogue with a large team, like we have nearly 100 team members that have kind of come and gone and been a part of our summits and different things, we have to have our internal communication at a higher level all the time. And so we're trying,
Absolutely.
and you're helping a lot with it, making sure that we're informing what's going on, giving them a easy next step, and engage with a dialogue in our Slack workspace and our LinkedIn strategies and connections and email triggers and jot forms, and making sure that there's a kind of a like we were saying before, kind of that digital hug that happens, or at least a digital high five to get things started. At least that, you know what I mean? So yes, 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 yes. These
And
principles.
also, when we're asking good questions, be mindful of the questions you're asking. So instead of asking yes no questions, ask your broader questions. So our great team member Adam Fleming teaches us that. Ask
Yep.
us great questions that broaden out that thought process so that people really want to engage with you. So it makes it more interesting to want to engage in that way. So it's
That's
not
a
a
great point. Great point.
simple yes no question. Make sure you're thinking about a question where they actually have to give you something for an answer. It doesn't have to be
So
long form, but something more engaging of an answer than a yes or no.
I'm pretty sure that that's called an open-ended question. So if you ask an open-ended question, ladies and gentlemen, and follow Stacy's lead on this, and you're able to basically open-ended questions keep the dialogue going, whereas a closed-ended question is your polite way of saying, "Are we done?" Yes or no. It's kind of like when you have a support ticket on one of those technology platforms and they're asking a lot of questions. They're open ended, like what's the problem? How can I help? Which parts are most frustrating? Have you tried this yet? Is this something we can do? All the open ended questions, right? And then you get to the end and they say, have we completed and helped you with everything you need? Yes or no? That's kind of their way of saying, we're closing the conversation here. Now, there's some exceptions to that. You can have yes or no questions kind of in the middle of these dialogues, but there is an obvious trail that you can take with open-ended questions, and especially at the beginning. And Stacey,
Mhm.
you and I have done some training on LinkedIn, and we have Samuel and others, Jennifer and others who have come and helped with LinkedIn. And one of the keys is to have short, sweet, open-ended questions on the beginning of these campaigns. And those are outreach campaigns. Those would be considered promotion because we're reaching out. So when you think of promotion, think of classy and tactful ways to reach out without bothering people. That's what we want to do. Okay.
And each time you do those reach outs, you want to be real, authentic, raw, be yourself. Don't sound like everybody else on the network. Don't sound like everybody else out there. Be real to you and who you are.
Yep. Remember your
Take a moment.
story. Remember
Yeah.
your brand. Remember all the language and the imagery that they're going to be seeing later as well. Make sure that everything is congruent and working as a flow, as a buyer's journey along the way.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if you end up asking random questions that have nothing to do with what you're trying to accomplish or what their needs are, then they sense that. It's like when walk into a restaurant and sit down, and the waitress or the waiter starts asking you random questions that have nothing to do with your meal, has nothing to do with anything. I appreciate the small talk, but we are here to to get something done, that kind of a thing. And there's a little bit you can include that's not direct, but at the same time, like, there is a journey that we're going on here. So we got to make sure that when you engage, ask pertinent questions that make sense to the environment. And you'll know that as you walk along in some of these groups and platforms and different technologies that seems like new ones are coming out every day. So there's just different ways. But these are the first principles of promotion. Okay. So the ICE acrostic is going to help you with every ad, every promotion. You want to inform, give a easy next step, which is it's a call to action. And then you want to engage with some kind of dialogue, so there's no dead ends. All right. Don't gamble. Measure your results. And you might be thinking, how do I measure everything? Well, you don't have to measure everything. Just measure what's important and make sure and stay on it the best you can. If you're not a numbers person, then get somebody on the team who is. Get somebody to help, a virtual assistant or an executive assistant or a power partner or a team member or somebody to help measure your results. A lot of the technology will allow us to do this. We recommend, if somebody's going to put ads out, put ads out that you can see the results. You can see if it's males or females that are opening the ads, where they're clicking, how often they're clicking. Like some of these email campaigns even will let you know how often people are clicking and open rates and all these different ways of promotion. You should know the percentages as a baseline so that you can constantly improve those. People don't get great open rates the first time they send an email. It's usually after a while you get these, or the first time you put an ad campaign together, an outreach campaign, a promotional campaign. Usually there's a progressive increase over time. Okay. And if you start seeing it going the other way, you need to change your strategy. Like something's going on. We gotta spice up the conversation or the advertisements. Okay. All right, so marketing is a series of experiments that you're tracking the results, and then you test, change, and repeat as needed, especially if your metrics, your numbers are going the wrong direction. You want to adjust that. And you're not alone if you've tried Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or email campaigns or some of these other just baseline strategies. You're not alone in that. Sometimes they work well and sometimes they don't. Okay. So don't get discouraged. You're in good company. We've all tried different ads. Learn from the data, learn from, like, Facebook ad, for example. Sometimes the first $200, $300 or $500 or whatever small budget that you put together for a Facebook ad, sometimes the biggest value of that is knowing who opened it. Then you can retarget more specifically. Sometimes running certain campaigns where you have a warm market and find out who's reopening those ads, leveraging Facebook. Sometimes the data is worth a few $100s. Just the data alone, even if you don't make a sale, as many sales as you want to on that front end, you can still nurture them. You can still see whoever opened it. You can circle back with them. So think long term, think statistics, and think experiments, and you'll be fine when it comes to ads. Any questions coming through on the comments so far about ads or promotions, outreach of any kind? Please put those in the comments section so that we can circle back with you. Joel and myself, and we have other team members that are kind of hovering and trying to help. We have Facebook ad specialists. There's so many email campaign folks. We have so many people that if you ask questions, we will either address them publicly here, or we can just circle back with you and try to dig in with you. Okay. All right. Report method. This is another acrostic, ladies and gentlemen. I used to be a preacher. I used to preach all the time. I still do sometimes, but these acrostics help me remember. So like if I'm on stage or publicly speaking somewhere, it's more for me. So hopefully it can be a help for you as well. If you write out the word report, then you'll be able to cover pretty much every marketing activity from an outreach or a promotion standpoint that I've been able to think of. Okay, so there's probably some outliers as well, but these are the main ways that most businesses, most organizations, most nonprofits will get the word out. They will get their brand out to the public in some way. So the almighty referral. Stacy, you and I have played referral ping pong. There's other team members that are going to be jumping in a few minutes here that have played referral ping pong with each other. And you might say, what is referral ping pong? Well, you're just giving each other referrals back and forth. Referral strategies are just that. They should be a strategy that you can actually predict and budget for your time or your resources for. They should also be something you can look back on and say, how did we do? It should not be random, ladies and gentlemen. As we get more professional in our respective businesses and organizations, fewer and fewer things should be random. You can still experiment, but with strategy in mind. And so you can experiment with different kinds of referrals. We've leveraged LinkedIn for referrals, Facebook for referrals. We leveraged email for referrals, good old fashioned phone call, text messaging referrals. We've tried it all. There's all different kinds of technology that can support all of that. At the end of the day, you want to have a very specific way by which people can send you warm conversations and appointments and prospects and people ready to at least consider your service and product, and make sure that there's people out there keeping an eyes and ears open for you because they know, like, and trust you. So now they want to invite other people to know, like, and trust you. We've had so many new team members recently, Stacy, that have come through referrals, and it's because people are starting to feel the love. They're starting to feel the connection. They're starting to feel the nurturing and the different team dynamics that you've been able to work with Joel and Christine and Tim, and I'll leave out a bunch of names right now, but there's just so many people that are part of the core network. And same with Kingdom Warriors. I'm seeing the same thing with different projects I'm involved with, and some of our team members are involved with, where we're starting to get referrals coming into Facebook groups and into other environments and signing up for challenges. And we're paying out thousands and thousands of dollars for referrals because we have ways to track all of that and those kind of things. Look, whether you're involved in this organization, that organization, or a nonprofit, a for-profit, referrals are probably going to be the lifeblood of your organization for years and years and years and years and years to come. And even when you get massive, the trillion-dollar companies in the stock market still rely on kind of a cult following, a brand that people really love. And you know which ones I'm talking about when I'm just referring to this, okay? And people will just rave about their phones because they're just in love with this experience. And you should get this one. I just got this one. You should get this one. Like, that's a type of referral. It's not just a recommendation. It's like hey, I recommend that you try this. This is more than just hey, this is cool. It's more like, hey, you should get one too. It's a referral to experience what they've experienced. So we want to get kind of a momentum on the referral side really rocking. So without going into too much detail on that, let's go into events, print, online, radio, and television. The reason I spent so much time on referrals, Stacy, and everybody in the green room, you know how important this is. Without that, the rest of this becomes kind of less important. Without referrals dialed in, the rest of this becomes kind of a pipe dream. You're grasping for straws. There's something you're trying to do that without referrals, you're probably not going to be around in 5 years anyway. So you might as well, whether you're working with a dentist, like Stacy works with a lot of dental companies and different types of businesses, financial institutions, these kind of financial professionals, these kind of folks. Referrals is where it's at. Sometimes you can't use these other online platforms in the way you thought you could because of regulations or because of this. Well, you can still tell your story and you can still get referrals. Those things right there are so powerful. So it's really important.
And sometimes the referrals are the most valuable to your business in regards to conversion, because it's the know, like, and trust. So yes, we want to get our message out there and be clear, but also for knowing what you can accept. And if you do it through referrals, it's actually a great way. You're more for me personally, it's become more of a guaranteed close for sure.
I like it. Stacy, let's talk about that for just a second. And Kobe just had a question in the chat box or in the comments. I mean, if you want to maybe review that. Yep, there it is. There's a couple of good questions in there. If you could help me with that. But hey, let's think about referrals for a second in terms of how hot they are. Okay, the quality of those, are they cold, warm, or hot? Right?
Yep.
We're always asking ourselves, like, scale of 1 to 10. How much trust do we have with this particular person? That's really all we're asking at that point, right? Well, with a coldish kind of lead, you're looking at maybe like out of 1 out of 10, maybe a 3 or a 4 if you really do your targeting well. Okay, so they're kind of warming up to you. They're not ice cold, but they're definitely still cooler. Well, when you get into like deeper follow up and conversations, you can get that to maybe a 5 or a 6 or a 7, maybe on the warmth scale or on the ready scale. With a referral, they come in hot. I mean, they're 7, 8, 9,
Yep.
and it's your job not to, it's your it's your job to just be yourself, and it's your deal to mess up at that point. Like a referral should come in as a hot, like, I'm not necessarily saying they're ready to buy right that second, but they're at least knowing, liking you, and trusting you based on what we call borrowed trust from the person that referred them. So that is
Absolutely. And
super powerful.
knowing your referral source.
Hmm.
So this is something that I had to really work on, because I had a lot of referrals coming in, but knowing where it was coming from
Yep.
and why that person sent it over to you. So Timothy, you sent me a lot of referrals, but
Hmm.
I always knew the context behind it. And then also, before you get on those warm ones, take a look at that person's business and understand why the referral happened for you. So, Timothy, let's just use for example, may refer me out to Joel, who is one of our main team members. I'm going to take a look at Joel's business. What does Joel do? How can Stacy come alongside of Joel and be a team member and an improvement to the business? So it's a lot more than, oh, okay, somebody referred me. Yeah, I'm going to get on this 10-minute call. Do a little bit of background research on them so that you're talking and you're offering up your services in a way that they understand will help them.
I love it. I love it. You got to have a little, take 3 minutes and get context at least. Like, see, okay, who made this referral? This person's on my calendar. They're an appointment. We got that far, but I'm trying to remember. Okay, going back to looking at my emails, my LinkedIn messaging. Let's make sure I know who this person was referred by, so I can drop that person's name. And we're getting into like referral strategy ping pong right now. This is so fun. I love this. I love what you said, Stacy. So we'll just leave it at that, because there'll be another whole training on how to play referral ping pong, how to take your referrals to another level. But for sake of time today, thank you, Stacy. Those were good comments. For sake
I
of
have
time,
one more little nugget to leave
uh,
behind on that one.
all
So
right, what do you
something
got?
that I've adapted is, because my calendar link gets put out in a lot of different places, I
Hmm.
actually, as soon as I see booking come in, I look to see where it came from, and then I write that in the actual appointment notes
Love it. That's good.
on my
That's a good
calendar.
strategy.
This,
Yep.
like, referral from Timothy, referral from Giver, something like that. So
Yep.
so then oh, okay, now I can see where it's from. So it just kind of puts it right out there. It doesn't go to your whole like, it doesn't go to the person who's booked an appointment on when you add those notes.
Yep.
It usually just stays on your own calendar if you're using Google Calendar, and that's been a very helpful tip for
Yep.
me.
I like that. Put it in some notes where you can see it, but maybe they don't see it, and you can experiment with that for sure. Love it. Good tips today, Stacy. This is fun. So people often ask, how much of my budget should I set aside for referrals, or should I set a budget at all aside for referrals? The answer is, if you want it to be important, if it's working for you, why would you not put a budget together for your referrals? And when we say budget, we're just talking about 1% of revenue or 10% of your marketing budget, which is the same thing, as a starting point. Okay. So we recommend at least 10% of your revenue be set aside for marketing just to start with. You can go up and down along the way, but we're just saying that's a guideline. So that would be 1% of your total revenue, top line revenue. Just everything that comes in, set aside 1% for referrals only. Get a system, get some software, get some technology, get some time set aside, get certain tools that would be helpful for this. There's different ways to take your referrals to another level. Stacy, I think last time we checked, 35% of the appointments coming into my calendar were referrals. So that's 350, approximately 350. And so we
out
have
of
them.
around 1,000 that we book of appointments on your calendar per year.
Right. So that's me personally. That doesn't include our network, our team members. I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of appointments, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of referrals. And so you want to track that and make that kind of a micro system within your larger strategy. All right, let's jump around let's move quickly through these other ones real quick, because referrals is like everybody needs more referrals, right? Like that's, if I could say 35% of your appointments were referrals, would you do that? Yeah, ask us and we'll tell you more about how we did that. Okay. So events, when you're at an online or in-person event, either one, these principles still apply. A lot of what we're saying here applies in person and online as well. Okay. So it just depends on how you apply it. Offer high value. It's like, duh, but you got to think, what am I giving to this room? What am I giving as a appetizer, a taste, not a pitch? A pitch would be like serving somebody at a table all the main course meals without even asking them what they want. That's not what we do. We walk in with maybe a little bit of bread and a little bit of butter, a little bit of honey, or a little bit of something to kind of get everything started. What can we offer that has value immediately to the room? Okay. Get contact information. Sometimes you can do this extremely tactfully, where they're not really even thinking. You can get it from the coordinator of the group, the coordinator of the event. You can just ask them, hey, do you have a list of people who came through? There's a few folks I was trying to connect with, and I didn't get their name. Ask for the list. Sometimes they'll give it to you. Sometimes they won't. Even if they don't, if you're on a Zoom group chat, you can take screenshots. You can save the chat. There's a bunch of ways to grab a majority of a list of a group when you're at a quote online event, a large group event, even a small event, in person or online. Okay. Follow up quickly. Grab those names, put them sometimes I'll do it right during an event. I'll just grab my phone, start connecting with them on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, or sending them a text message or whatever. I don't know. You should try different ways. I prefer LinkedIn. So I'll grab a whole list of names and I'll start connecting and copying and pasting, like, hey, it was great seeing you today at the event. And I'll put the name of the event in there. And are you open to a quick call in the next few weeks as a follow-up? What a great question, right? If you're in an event, just ask them. And look, if they're not your cup of tea, just skip them. Go to the next person. You don't have to invite everybody in the same way. You can use your discernment on that. But when you're at an event, I had a business coach tell me, look for the top 10% of the room that you want to for sure follow up with. That a lot of times they're the speakers, the people at the front door, people hosting the event, the people that are kind of facilitating breakout sessions or doing trainings. A lot of times they're the influencers in the room, or the connectors or the networkers in the room. The ones that reach out to you, you definitely want to follow back with them because they're proactive. They could be a power partner, a referral partner, and those kind of things. So find the 10% of the room, 10% of the room that you want to make sure and follow up with, and then the rest of them you can try as well. Okay, so follow up quickly. This one's fun. Stacy, I don't know, different parts of the world have different restaurants and different things. And here in the United States, Chick-fil-A is like a big thing. Okay, it's just one of
This
those.
isn't a very American thing.
All right,
Canada does not have Chick-fil-A, so it's something I need to try my next
yes.
southern trip.
That's right. Next time you're down in the States, give it a shot. But here's the thing: it's not necessarily about the restaurant. That's just an example, okay? But Chick-fil-A is one of those restaurants that decided to do some billboards, and they decided to do a campaign that if you wore something physically on your shirt or as an outfit or something as you walked into a restaurant, one of their restaurants, they would give you a free sandwich one day out of the year. It was like dress like it's basically what it says on the screen. It's Cow Appreciation Day. It's the weirdest thing you'll ever see. It honestly, the language is kind of like just strange. Okay, but the point is, what's in it for me? Everybody's asking the same question. What's in it for me? So they literally give you things to print out. You can like stick them to your shirt. You walk into the restaurant, they give you a free sandwich, and it's like I have 5 kids. That starts adding up. Like if you start, you know what I mean? Take the kids out, have some fun. Everybody's all excited. They're dressed up. Some of them come in pajamas, dressed up like a cow. Like it's just the weirdest, like it's kind of eerie. It's like, where's the music? Like, am I in the Twilight Zone or like what's going on? But it's one of those things where they increase their foot traffic by 25% by just giving away a sandwich and helping people have fun by using print. They were printing stuff off their printer. They were seeing stuff up on billboards. They were printing things off a line so they could, figure it out. They were wearing outfits. These are all physical printed, like physical things. So they used some digital to kind of get the word out, and they still do to this day. But originally there was not a lot of digital around this. It was like, just dress up like a cow and you'll get some free food. So there's ways to take your print promotion and get creative with it, is my point. Online, we could talk about online for like 4 hours. We're not going to do that because here's the bottom. Here's at the end of the day, you want to have some good media posts with some good follow-up messaging, maybe some email campaigns to complement that without spamming people. Okay, we have, I think, 20 or 30,000 people in our database. Okay, we only send emails to people that we feel are the right fit, and we're adding more all the time. Okay, you don't you don't want to hurt people's feelings by sending them out a bunch of things that don't matter to them. Okay, warm them up. We send out warm up conversations sometimes, even through emails. All right, warm your audience up. Otherwise, they're gonna feel like you headbutted them or something. Like you don't want to do that. Like just start the conversation gently if you can, and then you can move pretty quickly after that. Digital ads are a little bit of what we talked about before: Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. The list goes on and on. It's social media platforms plus other platforms. A lot of search engine ads as well. There's a lot of new forms of digital ads coming out too, and every platform seems to be jumping in on the bandwagon there. So when it comes to that, talk to some of our team members. They're going to be jumping in the room in a few minutes anyway, so we can circle around about that. Stacy, there was a question from before, from Kobe, I think. He said something about, do you have a general percentage of areas you emphasize over the others? Certain businesses or target markets, segments. Kobe, here's the short answer to that question. And great question. Keep them coming, ladies and gentlemen. Those are good questions. Ultimately, if you have, let's go back. This report method is super fun. If you break this down and do an experiment with a small percentage of your budget in each area, and you start seeing an ROI in your particular industry, your particular company or organization in one or two of these areas, then start pouring most of your budget into one or two of those areas. Okay. Don't try to be a master of all of these overnight. Put maybe 10% of your marketing budget into referrals, then 10% into events, then 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%. Leave a little bit left over for some ability to kind of reevaluate and readjust. And then whatever's giving you the best results, the top results, then you want to start pouring like 80% of your revenue into those one or two areas. And then leave the rest. Keep experimenting with their other ones, but focus in on one or two of these strategies, okay? especially as a small business. Now, if you have a large team and you have, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in ad budget, you can spread yourself over time. But even still, the principles still say the same. If you're going to get results from a particular aspect of your promotion, your ads, your outreach, then why not put 80% of your budget into what's working and then experiment with the remaining 20%? It's a variation of the Pareto's principle, right? Where you try to get as much of your budget into what's really working, okay? 80% of your budget into 20% of the strategy, or 20% of the possible strategies is probably a good rule of thumb, okay? All right, good question. Really good question. Radio and podcast, we think of this as more like audio, and obviously the R stands for radio, so audio, radio, podcasting. They're all kind of mixed in. We're going to be doing a training on this here in a couple weeks. Is that next week, Stacy, or is that the week after? Next week?
Next week. Yep.
Oh,
next
okay.
week.
So next week.
The radio podcasting, excuse me. No, February 14th. That's not next week. That is the week after. You are correct.
Weeks.
I apologize for that.
All right. So Valentine's Day, we're going to be talking of 2023. We're going to be talking about this. So if you're listening to the recording, just try to find that. Try to find that date. Okay. Bring high energy, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're audio only. Bring high energy. Like if I'm talking right now and you can see me on the screen and I'm on video, we need to bring, right, Tim Sulmanson? We need to bring high energy if we're in audio only. Video, you can get away with a little bit of this because you can use some body language. You can do a little bit kind of chill tone. You can look into the camera and give somebody a hug. And like it's a totally different experience. And we're going to talk about kind of that visual side in a minute. But when it comes to just audio, whether you're on Clubhouse or whether I know I'm dating myself a little bit, but whether you're on one of these audio platforms or you're on Twitter Spaces or some of these other places that at the time of this recording it's kind of worth considering, right? Bring your high energy, good microphone, enunciate really well, and make sure and bring that energy. Try for interviews. Those podcasts are a big deal. They're good. They're going to be around for decades. Okay. Some version of audio podcasting is going to be around for decades, and they oftentimes record a video along with it. Sometimes they don't, but many times those podcasts include a video element as well. So try for those interviews, whether you're doing audio or video. Long form content is really helpful for search engines. So if you get a podcast, or if you get an interview in an audio form, if you can capture that and then transcribe it, that's instantly a long form, not only audio piece, but it's also a written piece if you think through it ahead of time. Okay. A lot of folks, when we interview them, they ask for the file so they can get the transcript of it. They can turn it into long form audio and long form video. By long form, we mean like more than like 10 minutes of conversation. Okay. And some would even say more than 5 minutes is long form nowadays because our attention span seems to keep getting less and less. But the bottom line is it's not just a 30-second spot. It's not just a 1 minute spot. It's something longer. Okay. So that's what we're talking about when we say long form. All right. Television, video, anything visual based, tell your story. By the way, the audio and the radio and the television, or the audio and the video kind of components that we're talking about, these can all be intertwined. So tell your story when you're on the podcasts and the television interviews and those kind of things. Include your call to action. Slip it in though. Don't come out right at the gate and be like, hey, if you want to contact me, look me up on this, or here's my link, or here's my booking link, or here's this, check out my website. And don't start with that. Tell your story first. And then by the time you're done with your interview, or if they don't ask, you can kind of slip it into the end of the conversation. So there's a clean, clear, smooth call to action. A lot of times I'll be in an interview and I'll just mention, yeah, look me up on LinkedIn. I'd love to have a conversation. Then go right back to the conversation. Or they'll ask, what's the website? Givermarketing.com is great, but hey, really, what I really wanted to talk about is what you asked about earlier. And I'll kind of I'll pepper it multiple times through the conversation, as opposed to trying to force it down somebody's eyeballs or ears right at the very end. I'll try to pepper it even along along the way. A lot of people, if they have books, they'll do that. They'll mention the book along the way so that people can find that credibility to be an interesting point of conversation too. Get the video file, get the audio file, get the streams, find the platforms that it was on. Whenever you interview somebody, send them the audio file, the video file. They will love it. They'll put it out to their people, and your branding will be all over it. Your story will be all over it, no matter if you're the interviewer or the interviewee. Why do you think people invite each other on each other's podcasts? So they can speak to each other's audience. Come on, let's do it. All right, so that was promotion for our session today. We're going to go into a roundtable discussion. Before we jump into that, Stacy, if you want to invite some of the team members into the room. I'm not sure if Ingrid is ready or not, but Tim, you can put mute on your video. That'll be fine. And we can kind of go from there. So, yeah, a little bit of background noise for Tim, but he's here. We love seeing his smile, big smile. Love it. So here's the thing. When it comes to your action assignment, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, go to givermarketing.com/group. This is your call to action, okay? This is it. Go to givermarketing.com/group. Make sure you jump into that group. If you're already a member, you can post your action assignment, which is any kind of promotional screenshot, a digital screenshot of anything you're doing that has to do with promotion. It could be a picture of your business card. It could be a screenshot of a Facebook ad. It could be a link to your podcast that you did, an interview that somebody did with you. It could be anything that gets the word out, anything that you hand out or give out or express in some way around your brand. That's promotion. To us, promotion is outreach. And we talked about visibility last week. Visibility is how people find you. Promotion is how you find your people. Okay? So that's the difference for us. That's how we define those terms. With that being said, Joel, Tim, Stacy, let's have a roundtable discussion around promotion. And Kobe, if we didn't answer all your questions about kind of breaking down your marketing budget around that report method, please ask a follow-up question, reach out to us, and you want to definitely track that data like you're saying. You want to track that data and make adjustments along the way. Think of it like a stock portfolio where you're investing into different stocks, and it's just an example, but you want to adjust those as the market tells you to adjust different things and reallocate your funds based on what's working, right? So it's kind of something like that. Joel, any thoughts around this promotion conversation? I know you do a lot around kind of leveraging the promotion meets nurturing. You set the ads so that they can become even a nurturing tool. We can even tease out what we're going to be talking about next week too. So any thoughts around promotion and even how it relates to nurturing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is such great content and, the foundation for anyone getting the word out. And when you talk about budget and structuring promotion, you alluded to our no cold traffic, dead end kind of theme in promotion as well. And typically we'll structure a budget to go 60-40. So you're 60 cold traffic, 40% retargeting. So you're looking at the metrics coming in, and then you're able to say, okay, 40% of our budget now is going back to re-inviting people or reinforcing the information in some way.
Wait, say that one more time. 60-40. What was the split?
60% cold traffic. So the initial touch, right? Yep. Then as you get some metrics back, some data back, 40% of your budget is retargeting those people with the new information.
There you go, Kobe. There's some more kind of guidelines. And that's really what we're great at here at Giver Marketing Network, is bringing in the specialists to give us guidelines as we're talking to a larger audience. And then as you get into the coaching sessions with each one of our team members, you can get into the specifics, like how much did you spend last year on what, in what way, what kind of response did you get, what kind of ROI, return on investment, did you get? And then that's where those more specifics can come into play. But these guidelines are great to start with. I love that. Tim, I know that you're your audio, you're probably traveling. You're a traveling man. You're kind of one of those Renaissance men, but your audio isn't great today. But do you have any questions or thoughts or anything that you can add to the conversation here?
I'm curious about my audio, but I'm sitting in a quiet room. I do have some birds outside. Maybe that's it.
No, you're good now. If it sounds better.
Awesome. I think it's like any kind of communication. The better you know your audience, who you're talking to, the easier it is to reach them. And if you're finding that they're not understanding you, then you just shift how you're communicating with them. So, yeah, to me, to save yourself a whole lot of money and a whole lot of work and effort and doing all the analytics, which is important, is to really be clear about who it is you're trying to reach and where you're trying to reach them. So if you know where your audience lives and you know the kind of communication that they're going to connect to, which essentially, I mean, in our line of work, it's what problem we're helping them solve. You know, how we're moving them. I always talk about the journey of transformation, how we are empathizing with the struggles of where they are and their aspirations of moving towards becoming the person they want to become, or having the things they want to have, or doing the things they want to do. So, yeah, you essentially have to identify who your audience is, the kind of things that's going to speak to their challenges, their troubles, their struggles, their aspirations, and then you just make your adjustments to how people are reacting or responding to those things.
So Tim, a lot of people will come to us. We've all heard it because we're kind of some of the coaches in the network, right? You're coaching on kind of branding and noble purpose and kind of the ethos of how somebody, comes to the table. Their messaging is all around that, like your actual problem you're solving in association with your noble purpose. That's your messaging, right? When you talk to Tim, okay? And Joel, you talk a lot about how to, start a conversation, get follow up, nurturing, like all these. We coach on all different aspects of marketing, right? So, but at the end of the day, we get a lot of conversations around this one question. I've tried all sorts of marketing, and a lot of it just doesn't work. What should I do? And I'm thinking, as we're talking here, as we're having a dialogue, Stacy, you might have some thoughts on this around, just different platforms like LinkedIn versus Facebook and just different things like that. But I'm thinking, okay, there's really a fundamental question. Is what you just alluded to, Tim. It's, am I talking to the right audience? We have to check that box. Like that's a non-starter if we're not talking to the right audience. Like we talk to causes and companies doing good in the world that need to get the word out, right? So that if you're not a cause or company doing good in the world, like most of our team members just really aren't interested. Like if it's got to be more than money. Like there's got to be a reason that's beyond that, some kind of impact or something, right? So, all right, so that's check that box. Then if you're not getting the results, then maybe it could be that your messaging, your it's not clear. It's not clear what your story is. Like why you even exist. Maybe you're just a nice person in the room, but they have no idea what. That's been my problem over the years many times. I'll admit that publicly. Tim, you've helped with that. Joel, you've helped a lot with these kind of things too. Stacy's given a lot of team members have given each other feedback. Say, hey, you need to be clear. Like, what problem are you solving? Now that you're in the room, you're in the right room. Let's make it clear what it is that you're doing. So now we make sure that we're bringing a team of networking professionals and specialists to the table, and I function as a fractional CMO and all this other stuff. So I have some language that we've been really trying to dial in to make sure that folks understand what I do. And Joel, you've shared some of your story as well along the way too, but there's many times when I wonder, just riffing off what you're saying, Tim, if we're either A, not in the right room, or B, we're in the right room without the right message. Like it's not clear. We're just not. We might even be a nice, happy smile in the room. We're just not clear with people even like and trust us. So they just don't know what we're going to do together. They're just not understanding. So I think that's a really important 1-2 punch. Like right room, great messaging. Right room, noble purpose. Right, like however you want to say it, but it's got to be the right combination of those two things. That's what I heard you say, Tim. Did I do okay on that?
Yeah. I think well, it's just like any kind of whether you're in a dating relationship, we talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
You know, if if you're attracted to athletic, in my case, athletic women, I'm probably not going to spend all my time at the bar. I'm going to spend more time at the volleyball,
At the
nets
gym or
whatever,
something. Yeah, I got you.
gym or
I got
whatever.
you.
Yeah.
Did
So
you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Tim's putting himself out there. He's like, athletic ladies, just hang it, connect with me on Facebook. Salmonson, SALMOMANSON. We're just trying to help each other here. This is good. This is good. No, I love the dating analogies because, quite frankly, if you're in the wrong rooms, you're going to end up with the wrong people in your life. So that goes for business, that goes for personal, that goes for all these kind of things. So get in the right rooms. That's a great analogy. I love that. Joel or Stacy, you got anything to wrap us up today? We gotta land the plane, but this has been fun.
No, it's been great. And the biggest thing too is like I'll just back what Tim and Timothy are saying is make sure that it is, you're clear. You know what your message is, you know what it is. So that's a really good reminder to me because I'm really in the middle of a shift myself. And yeah, so that's really good. That's a really good reminder. Thanks everyone. Next week, same channel, same spot. We're going to talk some nurturing. And I invite you to come back and join us. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see everybody.